ICE moving ahead with plans to begin arresting as many as 1 million undocumented migrants in 10 major cities tomorrow. Everybody's standing by for this, including Miami, Chicago, San Francisco, and New York. Mayors in those cities speaking out, saying they will not assist in the raids. For more on this, we bring in Theresa Cardinal Brown, Director of Immigration and Cross-Border Policy at the Bipartisan Policy Center. So we were just talking before we got started here. I mean, what a day this is going to be tomorrow. We don't know how many cameras will be in place to capture some of this action. But as this first ever mass roundup begins, it feels like this is going to be a law enforcement showdown. You've got the feds on one side. You've got the locals on the other. How do you see this happening?
Well, first of all, I would say that for the ICE agents that are out doing this level of publicity is actually not what they want. Sure. Normally, this amount of advance notice is not something they want. They want their operations kept secret until the moment they knock on people's doors. Mm-hmm. All of this talk is probably going to mean that a lot of people they're trying to target are not going to be there. Right. And it may make things a little more dangerous for them if they have to go and find people in other locations. So ordinarily, this is not how these kind of operations would go down. And I would temper expectations for how many people ICE is actually going to be able to find.
Right. And I want to clarify, it's not the first ever. It's just the latest roundup as we're looking at some of these images of things that we have seen happen before. But obviously, it's a tough job for everybody who is involved. I want to talk to you about the detention facilities where undocumented migrant families are being held, because CBP released figures recently that show nearly 600,000 migrants have been taken into custody since the beginning of last year. And in fact, in May, we saw the largest undocumented migrant apprehension. So Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, speaking to TMZ, compared migrant detention facilities to concentration camps. We've been hearing about this, which has caused debate on how these undocumented migrants are being treated while in custody. We want to play you what she said. Listen.
The academic definition of concentration camps are targeting a community and putting them in detention camps without a trial. And that's what the government is doing. That's what the Trump administration is doing.
All right. So what do you think of her characterization of those facilities?
I think it doesn't matter what you call them. What matters is what's going on. And I think we do need to figure out a better way to care and treat those that are apprehended at the border. Clearly, the current situation is not acceptable. The acting Secretary of Homeland Security, Kevin McAleenan, has said so. But that's where Congress comes in. If we want to improve the conditions under which CBP is processing people, then they need to step up and find money to support that. And I think that's where it's time to, stop talking about what you call it and start doing something about it.
And, and talking about what you call it, because we've heard the words human rights violations. So the question is what the Trump administration is doing and how they're handling it. Is it a human rights violation in your view?
In my view, the conditions under which people are being kept right now are violating human rights. It is over capacity. It is under sanitary conditions. Obviously, we've seen deaths in medical care, but that's a combination of the volume that's coming, the fact that our infrastructure of the border was never meant for this volume of this kind of population, and we need to fix that. We need to adjust how we do things at the border to address this new population.
And it sounds like there has been some adjustment, at least adjustment is coming, because we got a CBP preliminary report saying that undocumented migrants could decrease 15 to 20% this month. So one of the questions out there is, did President Trump's threat of economic tariffs against Mexico actually work? Is that why that number is fluctuating?
I would say a 1 month dip is too soon to tell. This is the time of year actually when migration usually decreases because the weather and temperatures increase. Mm-hmm. So month to month, it's not really what you want to look at. You want to look at over a series of months or over time compared to the previous year. I think it's too soon for us to say whether this is a blip or a trend.
All right. Well, we know that tomorrow will be telling. It's going to be an interesting day, no matter what happens. So we'll, of course, keep our viewers up to speed on that. We want to thank you for your perspective. Theresa Cardinal Brown, thanks for being here with us.
You're welcome.
All right.